This was day 5 of the Time to Thrive challenge. I'm getting my notes pulled up here. Actually, I'm gonna have to pause it here in 1 second because it always.
This was day.
All right. So yeah, day 5, Time to Thrive challenge. I've been there the whole time. And you know, it's hard to go through these challenges. 5 days is a long time, especially when it's in the middle of the day, right? So in this, you make sure we're on the right view here. And I will say, I've been kind of going through these, following Dean and Tony through this journey for about 4 or 5 years now. And this is by far the best ending day that they've done by like a lot. Sometimes it's just wishy-washy. Dean has become a much better presenter over the last year than you would ever expect. So let me kind of jump right into, I'm going to jump into the content. I'm going to try and crank it out in right about 20 minutes because there's not a lot to cover. And then, yeah, we'll let you guys be on your way. So KK jumped on, she's the MC, and she kind of gets everyone warmed up and gets everyone back in and goes kind of over the summary of what happened the rest, like in each previous day. And she gave a few quotes that I really, really liked. One was basically, the secret to a good life is always contribution and giving. And which feels so good. And that's what the knowledge industry is all about. And then she asked the question, she said, how many of you guys here have more hope today than you have had in a long time? How many people have more of a vision now? And how many people have more of that energy inside of you than when we started? And then she said, you don't actually have more energy. And of course, the crowd went wild. She said, you don't have more energy now. That energy has always been inside of you. It's just more visible. And it's been over 16 hours of training. And so for everyone who was there, that's an incredible amount of time. It's just forces a paradigm shift in your life, right? So day 1 basically started, it covered the basics, the industry, and gave us the mindset of like, maybe I can do this. Day two covered some tips, some like specifics, made us say, I must do this. Day 3 gave kind of a lot more clarity. So it made everyone kind of say, I am doing this. Or that was day 4. Oh yeah, so day 1 is maybe I can do this. Day 2 is I will do this. Day 3 is I must do this. Day 4 is I am definitely doing this. And then day 5, what their goal was for the day is I must be insane if I don't do this. I think they did a pretty good job. So she also goes on to state that when you combine impact with service and contribution of life, you get to another stratosphere. So, and then she covers, hold on. I need to get all that. So then Dean came up and Dean did a pretty good job. One big thing he pointed out was everyone that joined the challenge, so everyone who RSVP'd got a meal donated to Feeding America, which is Tony Robbins' like passion project. And then for those who went VIP, they got 50 meals donated. And with everyone that joined, there was 400 meals that were donated to Feeding America because of this 5-day challenge. And I thought that was really neat. He then covered a lot more. He went back over what's in Project Next, which is, of course, the course that they're selling. And what I do recommend, if there's one day to just go rewatch, if you can't spend the 16 hours to go watch all of it, this day is the one that just take a couple hours and crank through it. If you're watching my video, put mine on 2x speed to get through the information. But if there's one that you really want to dive into, it's this one. And especially if you already have a business. So the 5-day challenge is really good for someone who's never done this before. They had no idea this was even a thing. They just know that they're like, oh, I kind of want to do something new, but I don't know what that is. The 5-day challenge was perfect for that. But day 5 is the best one. Day 4 and day 5 really Day 4 covered the specifics of like how to craft the message that you probably already have and make it better for your clients in very specific tactical ways. And then also how to use social media in a much more effective way. And if you want tactics, I would rewatch Day 4. If there's one day, if you only have 2 hours to spend, I would watch Day 5 because it covers the whole overview. It brought everything together. It was fast. And, for someone brand new, it is overwhelming. It's a lot of overwhelming information in a short amount of time. But if you've already dabbled in this industry, Day 5 puts it together just really, really elegantly. And even if it's just the first half of Day 5 you watch. And what else did I want to say? So, of course, I don't know if I was going to say this in a second, but so we're all here for a reason. And we have to be honest, because no one is watching this training or watching my reviews simply for entertainment, right? We're watching, it's not like, oh, should I put on Stranger Things or should I watch this dude on the internet review the Time to Thrive challenge, or I should spend 16 hours in this instead of whatever else is on Netflix out there. We're doing it because we're either frustrated with our businesses, we are tired of our job, we know that we can do more, we have something we want to share to other people, and we're sick of not getting there on our own. And so why not take action steps now? So, and what they covered, I think what Dean said, he said, don't wait and lose motivation in a week and go search for something else. Take an action today that's going to move you forward to that compelling future that you have. And what I also recommend, rewatching Day 5, of course, there was a sale in the middle of it. Dogs are like freaking out right now for literally no reason. They've been quiet all day, and then as soon as I start talking, they go off. All right. So what was I saying? So watch Day 5. Of course, there's a big long sales kind of right in the middle. But what I always recommend is watch, even if you don't want to buy the product, it's not something that you're interested, you're not going to get it, it's $1,000. Watch how they sell it. Watch the information they're presenting and the way that they're presenting it, and use that for your own marketing. Use that for the way that you're going to construct stuff on your own. Because when you shut down when someone else is trying to sell you something or share something with you, people are going to shut down when you're offering your product to them. It's just the way energy works, right? And you can always learn something through someone selling you something. What else am I going to say? And then what I meant to say also is like, watch how he's using his own specific principles that he taught while he's going over Project Next. So after that, Lisa Nichols came up, and man, she such a great presenter. She was on fire and she killed it. I can't even pretend to convey what she did with the summary. So again, this is the one day, just go watch it. But I'll pull out a few quotes that she said. And she started out kind of, you spent the last 5 days looking and learning about this industry. That gives us hope, it gives us inspiration and success, right? And that's what this industry does. It creates hope, it creates inspiration, and it creates success for others. And Lisa said, why did I start? Why did I get into this business? And she said she didn't want to get into it because she wanted to go out and transform the world. That wasn't her mission. Her mission, she got into it, was because she needed to transform herself. So that's what got her involved. After that, after she put in the work and the time and the effort and energy, she was so inspired that she wanted to help and serve other people. Another quote she said is that so many of the healers in the world right now are wounded themselves. And it's just human nature that when we have a breakthrough, we want to give that to others. And she says, I'm not sure how you came onto this path, but you're here. And there are others who can be inspired by your very existence. It's not an accident that you're still here on the final day. It's not an accident that you're watching this review. It's by divine design. There's something that you need to share with the world, and you know it. And that's such a powerful message. The other big message that she was conveying, the big theme, is that this isn't a time for surviving. This isn't a time for just hanging in there. This isn't a time for just living. She says, we've been through 30 plus months of pressure and struggle that's been shaping us and making us make difficult decisions. And right now, it's time to do everything we possibly can to turn our dream into reality, or to turn your dream into someone else's reality. So either we're impacting other lives, or just the sheer fact of you going for your own dream gives others permission to go for theirs. Such a great, great message. Lisa then went on to say, she said, I am making a bold invitation. She says, I'm making a bold invitation to you to just pick your what. Just pick anything that you want to focus on. She said, it doesn't need to be, and you don't need to go do anything. You don't need to get any more potions. You don't need to go any more widgets. You just need to make a decision. And she says, what's the difference between a decision? Oh, let me see. Yeah, she said, what's the difference between a decision? What's the difference between a decision and a conviction? I think that's what she said, or I think Tony said that later. But basically, your conviction and your convenience don't live on the same block. If getting into this, if getting into something new is inconvenient right now, then it's all more the reason to do it. When you're uncomfortable and you keep doing it anyway, all of a sudden you have to grow. Those are all quotes from her. It's interesting, actually, as I'm rereading this, a lot of the stuff she said directly parallels what Tony Robbins and what Dean has been saying, and what Tony Robbins is going to say in a minute. So he says, let me kind of go over that. It's basically like when we're all doing something new and it's hard and it's difficult, we've been doing things the same way for so long that you just have to keep going through it. And when it's uncomfortable, you have to do it anyway. That's the time to step in. It's honestly, Lisa Nichols killed it. She's probably one of my favorite speakers. I got to see her live a handful of years ago. She is just amazing. So definitely go watch that one. She cranks it out at probably just over 20 minutes. Then after she was finished, Tony Robbins came up and he said a lot of similar, it's just a similar theme, right? Don't let what you, his main quote, right? Don't let what you learn lead to knowledge that's going to make you a fool, because knowledge without action makes you foolish. Let that learning lead to action, which then lets you lead the life of your dreams. And then he kind of hammered down that point for another couple minutes, which is true. We've been learning, we've been doing this, we've got all these skills. I'm very personally guilty of learning a lot of these things and not implementing them myself, which is why it's always important to go back over these, even if we've heard it again. He gave a great key to either starting or growing your business, which is to increase your skill as a leader. If there's one thing you do, increase your skill as a leader. Leaders don't follow, and they get to live their life on their own terms. And that doesn't necessarily mean telling other people what to do. It means saying what you're going to do and doing it and living to your own standards. The dogs are super distracting. All right. And so how do you increase that skill of influence? And then he said to think about, what are the things that influence you personally? Generally speaking, the things that influence you are not healthy for you. It's either food, entertainment, all of those things that influence you aren't the best influencers. And the number one thing that creates influence in humanity is emotion. We tend to justify things logically, but we are moved with emotion. And the only way to get through that is to get into the habit of doing things you don't want to do. Anytime you say, I can't, or I don't want to, or I don't feel like it, that's the time that you must. He went back to the story where Jim Rohn wanted him to go in this, it was a $1,200 course back then, which in today's dollars would be like 10 grand. And it's a recurring theme, right? Where he went back into the story that says, Jim Rohn said, if you don't have this money at your age, that's exactly why you need to come to my seminar. And so watching the comments, there was still another about 20,000 people in the group that I was on. Dean said there were like 40,000 in the VIP. And then I like jumping in different rooms. So yeah, the YouTube channel had about 20,000 active users at any given time. And which is interesting because day 3, it was like 40,000. Day 4, it dropped to about 30,000. So lost about 10,000 people each day. And the comments were really interesting because when he offered Project Next the first day, again, it was probably like 1 out of 20 comments is like, I can't believe they're selling something. It's such a ripoff. Now we're in a sales funnel. Most of those people were gone. So the rest of, which again blows my mind, right? But the other most interesting comments that I saw scroll through were, hey, I would love to do this. I'm all in. I'm all about it. I just can't afford it. Do you have like a student price? Do you have a, one woman, she said, I'm an indigenous woman. I really want to do it. Do you have like a scholarship program for us? A lot of people saying, I want to do it, but can you give me a deal for it? Which at $1,000, like it's an uncomfortable amount of money, but it's not that much money in this day and age, you know? So the theme of like being uncomfortable, and if it's not going to ruin you, it might be something that you need to do if you're that motivated. Because being in this industry, I've had clients that you can tell are just, they're like, I really want to do it, but I just can't pay. And I don't charge very much for what I do at all. And it's like, whenever I've gone out of my way to help someone, they never follow through with their commitment, almost every time. And I know I personally didn't really start paying attention in investing in what I was doing until I started spending money. I didn't, even like for my mental health, until I started investing money in alternative forms of therapy, I wasn't making action. And it's just, you don't value it if you don't put the money in. And so that's what I also recommend to my clients. Like, don't ever discount your products when you set a value. You don't add more things to it, increase the value of what's there. Which is why, again, if you look at what they're selling, they're also adding coaching, they're adding one-on-ones, they're adding group stuff, extra packages, but they're not discounting the price. And I think that's a really just interesting thing to keep in mind for your own products. And for your own actions, because if you get something for a discount, are you going to value it as much, right? And if you don't have the money at your age, that's why you need to do this. And that was what Tony said. And it just really, it sounds so salesy and so scammy, but it's so true once you've done it and you look back to it. So I'm just going to stop talking about that. Another thing Tony said, he said, if you had a great time and you learned a bunch this weekend, what's the one thing that will get in your way from applying what you learned? And then most people have the answer of, it's me. I'm going to get in my own way. But he says that's not actually true. That's not the case. What's going to get in your way is fear. And the only way to avoid fear is, again, to focus on what you want and not the obstacles in your way. Focus on what you want, not the obstacles in your way. And he gave his race car driving analogy that, if you've seen Tony, you've probably heard that one. But it's really true. So focus on what you want, focus on the what, focus on the why, and then the how just works itself out. He made another really good statement. He said, if you focus, and again, this is the race car analogy, if you look at the wall, you're going to hit the wall when you lose control of your race car. So don't look at the wall, look at the road. That was the whole message, right? And he says, if you focus on the road, are you guaranteed not to hit the wall? And that answer is no, right? You might fail, but you're much more likely not to. But if you focus on the wall, are you pretty much guaranteed to hit it? The answer is yes. If you focus on the obstacle, you're likely going to hit that obstacle. But if you focus on your vision, you're much, much more likely to get there. And if you don't, you're probably going to learn something. So the other statement he made is everything good or bad in your life, all of it, the good things and the bad things have happened because of a decision that you made. Okay, this is where he said it. So he said, what's the difference between a decision and a commitment? Commitment is really nailing it in. That's having that clear why and the clear what. That's the commitment, and then sticking with that, right? We can make decisions all the time, but we don't necessarily take the actions to get there. What's the difference between a decision and conviction? Like Lisa Nichols said, make a commitment, have the conviction to get it. And it's all about taking the action to get to that goal that you want. Again, so that's basically everything that they covered. Dean talked a little bit more. He did a recap, gave some stuff away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a total review. I've been lucky enough to get access to Project Next, so I know a lot about it. And I've seen the various iterations over the last handful of years. On the 11th, I believe it's the 11th, I'm going to do a full breakdown of exactly what's in it, the good stuff and the bad stuff, in the same kind of rapid fire format summary of this kind of thing, of what I'm doing here. So I hope that was helpful. I'm getting better at going faster through these, but I highly recommend, again, if there's just one you watch, just go watch this day. I've got a link to it. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the bio or in the comments wherever you see this video. And yeah, just know that like we are all meant for more, and it's exciting that we get to be on this journey. So thanks so much for watching. I actually greatly appreciate everyone who tunes in. And we'll talk to you guys later. All right. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. So I'm going to stop the recording.